Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Dark Souls 3 weapon showcase. This time we're using the Partizan, and its R1s are going to be thrusts, its R2s are going to be horizontal slashes, and its running attack is going to be a charging thrust. Its two-handed R1s again are thrusts, its two-handed R2s are horizontal slashes, and its skill is spin sweep, which can be continued by pressing R2 in the middle of its attack. As far as this weapon's performance in PvP is concerned, I don't really have anything horribly negative to say about it. It's a spear, spears are always relatively straightforward, and are typically very reliable weapons, so let's get started with the basics on this one. The Partizan requires 14 strength and 12 dexterity in order to wield. It has a physical base damage of 216, and it has a D scaling in strength and a C scaling in dexterity when fully upgraded. That said, this weapon does excel very much when you infuse it with the sharp infusion, so that's something I would recommend looking into, sharp or refined depending on the build. Other than that, as far as its actual location, you can find it on a hanging corpse near Cornix. It's over in the Undead Settlement. I think that's the second bonfire or the third bonfire, one of the two. I think it's the third actually, so that's something to keep in mind. Other than that, the weight of the weapon, it weighs 6.5 units, and that's really all I've got. Overall, it's a spear, so of course it's going to be a really easy weapon to use, a really reliable weapon, and with this one having the horizontal swings with its R2s, it adds an extra bit of utility to it. And I would definitely say that those swings are the biggest pro of the weapon. The fact that its attacks are so varied for a spear class weapon, that's a big deal. It also is the only spear class weapon that has the spin sweep skill. Because of that, you can really catch people off guard. Another thing with that spin sweep skill, you can actually combo it. You can actually get someone with an R1 and then get them into the spin sweep, and it works relatively well. It's very reliable to do, it's a good way of getting damage. I will say it doesn't always deal as much damage as I feel like it should, and that's because you have to have proper distancing to hit with its sweet spot, and that's not a huge deal, but it's something to keep in mind. Another thing with this weapon, because of its R2s, it does have that wide swing, and you can actually, if you time your attack properly, track someone as they're trying to roll behind you like I did in the last fight. It's a very reliable and viable strategy, and it works very well. I mean, it's such an easy thing to do, just hold your R2 for a half second and you're good to go. And then it'll track them as they roll and you'll catch them, and it's all good. Another big thing with this weapon is, of course, its R1s do have the guaranteed 2-hit stun. That's just typical, that's nothing special. But its R2s, when one-handed and uncharged, also have a 2-hit stun. So that's something that's in a way a little bit unique. Most weapons don't have a 2-hit stun on their R2s as well. You can get a 1-hit easily enough, you can do an R1 into an R2 easily enough in most cases, but getting an R2 into an R2, that's a bit of a more rare occurrence from my experience. Another thing with this weapon is, of course, since it is a spear, you can turtle poke, that's always a pro. And really, you can take advantage of the range that it has against other players, and that's pretty much all I've got for the pros, to be perfectly honest. It's a spear, it's a straightforward weapon, it's nothing terribly unique. Yes, it's got slashing attacks, and that does add a fair bit of utility to the weapon. You can actually do some really nice things with it. You can get some really nice combos with it too, like I did on that guy using the greatsword. I don't remember which greatsword it was. I think it was a bastard sword. Earlier on in the video, I got a nice little combo on him, and it would have worked out a little bit better had I timed it slightly better, sure, and had I had it infused, it probably would have killed him. The point remains, you can get some nice little combos done with this thing. With its R2s, you can also use them as a bait to lure someone in. Same goes for spin sweep, as a matter of fact, like I did on this guy. I knew he'd be coming in after I did the spin sweep, and I knew his health was low, so I was actually going for a trade. I didn't expect to win on that, but it happened, so that's okay with me. Another good pro of the weapon is, of course, the swing speed, or thrusting speed, depending on what attack you're doing, I suppose. Range, of course, It's a spear though, so that's something that kind of goes without saying in a way. Really though, that's pretty much all I've got for the pros. The only con of this weapon that I have is going to be its damage output, and its stagger, its stun is not that great. Same for the hyper armor. It leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's a fast weapon, so you really can't expect it to be, you know, top tier with all that sort of stuff. It's just the way that it is. So you got to take it for what it's worth. Other than that, though, I mean, it's a spear. That's all I really have to say. It's a spear. It's a fun weapon to use. It's a very reliable weapon to use. I enjoy this thing a lot. I don't typically go for spears very often. So this one, it's unique enough and has a varied enough moveset for me to feel comfortable with it. I will say I do like that its skill, Spin Sweep, does have a fair bit more hyper armor than any of its other attacks. As you saw in the last fight, I was able to, in a way, poise through his swing and do a decent job with that. Now that said, even though this is a fast weapon, you still cannot out-trade an S-Stock. That's just not something that can work, so don't go for that. It's a bad idea. The S-Stock has more damage, and its reach is honestly just about the same, so it's not worth the effort at all. Other than that, though, guys, I've got pretty much nothing else to say about this thing. It's a good weapon. It's fun. I like it. If you haven't tried it out, I would recommend it. So, that's that. Other than that, though, we've got a little bit of housekeeping, I suppose you could call it, just to get you guys up to date with what's going on with the channel. There will be that Q&A coming out very, very soon. It will come up over this weekend. Other than that, though, there won't be any showcases until the weekend is over. Just because I'm not going to be in town to record, I won't be able to do any of that. I will spend some time recording some of the longer PvP sessions before I travel back to New York, but there won't be any showcases just because I won't have time to edit, and I won't have time to record commentary, so it is what it is. Other than that, though, guys, I've got nothing else to say, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, found it helpful in one way or another. There's one fight left after this, which is about to start right about now, so stick around if you want. If not, no hard feelings. But again, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, and I will see you all next time.